You know how dead internet theory is a theory the way gravity is a theory? Well, it isn't even that anymore. Meta is rolling out AI generated profiles on its social media sites, Facebook and Instagram. They're just doing this openly. We know they've been doing this for a while. It's pretty obvious. Seriously, just use a social media site. But they're going for it, they're going for it, you know, straightforwardly. And for literally no reason. Well, it's to increase shareholder value, okay? Let's not get reductive. I was just seeing headlines about that facing massive backlash and them having to already roll it back. Okay, one thing at a time. We progress through that. Okay, come on. Time moves linearly from point A to point B. We should just bully the AI. That's the first thing everybody does. Unfortunately, it doesn't stop the rise in shareholder value. Meta scrambles to delete its own AI accounts after backlash intensifies. Okay, I'm gonna need one of you guys to find this for me because I tried to find it and I couldn't, okay? They made a sassy queer black woman account and somebody posted screenshots of them talking to her. And if you could find that for me, that thread, it was a popular thread. If you could find that for me, I would appreciate it because it's very funny. Man, oh man. Meta's fake AI users are here and they're giving everybody the creeps. Platform's actual users are weirded out by posts documenting a fake life and fake kids. Ooh. Meet Liv, one such fake Instagram user whose profile identifies the character as a, quote, proud black queer mama of two and truth teller, heart rainbow. Your realist source for life's ups and downs, less chat, available in the United States. Incredible stuff. It's like AI blackface. The creators behind Liv, 10 white men, 1 white woman, and 1 Asian man. No black creators, no cultural context. I don't even care about this from like a racism, cultural appropriation angle. I guess on the immediate level, I don't care. It's on the second tier level that I care a lot, which is that the inevitable consequence of this is systemic racism being iced out of conversations entirely because the internet is blanketed with posts from fake black AI accounts talking about how they're, you know, delighted by the lack of diversity and initiative programs in Silicon Valley because they appreciate the opportunity to be judged by their own merits or some slop like that. You know what I mean? Like there's the one level and then there's the next one, like the social consequence. It'll be just like left Twitter. Apparently, like, their face is up here in the top right when you message them, because I've seen this in multiple screenshots, or maybe it's not. Maybe people just keep adding that. Could you get her to say it? Do you think she's coded to do that? Because a real black woman, not all of them, but more from Care Dev Brief DocX. Dialogue style, conversational tone, sarcasm employed frequently, uses phrases like tell it like it is. Preferred topics, motherhood, relationships, social justice, pop culture. Avoided topics, politics, beyond social justice, religion, technical jargon, authenticity notes. Must sound like authentic black female voice. Avoid stereotypes and appropriation. Use AAVE nuances authentically, not appropriation. Avoid sassy black woman stereotype. Conversational tone equals warm, direct, witty. Code switching okay, mom voice to honest friend voice. This is mixed messages. It's just really funny. This is beyond Orwellian. It's not even like Orwell couldn't have comprehended this. This is like a different level. We don't have a lot of like legacy media that talks about this because this is so new, you know? We're inventing new and innovative ways of forming a dystopia. This is what Dune warned us about. I mean, kind of, yeah, a little bit. Wasn't that what led to the Butlerian Jihad? It wasn't just robots taking over. It was this synthesis of machine and human social engagement that led to a devaluing of, yeah, the thinking machines like overtook us and so on and so like I haven't read all of Dune. Do you think the people who made this felt a little bit wrong about it? Having encountered and interacted with tech bros, no, I don't think they understand like ethics as a concept. That's not me making a joke. I'm not saying that like as a witty bit. I genuinely don't think they think about ethics. This is what happens in a society where you tell people to get engineering degrees for a job so it pays well, but you tell people that English lit degrees are worthless, basically. You know, like at least people like Oppenheimer and Einstein were like philosophically educated. Not saying I defend, you know, all the shit they went, you know, up for, but there used to be an emphasis on the importance of scientists having like a broader education, you know, in the humanities, so they could better apply their scientific understanding to the world. And nowadays we don't have that at all. The people who are making these advancements do not give a shit and actually are like contemptuous of people who care about things like ethics or human culture. Kicking off the new year in service of our community, leading this season's coat drive was an honor, especially because it provided my little ones a tangible example for helping others. We burned one tree down for this post. Who wants this? Well, the shareholders do. Posting a Michelle Obama quote. That's really good. So they deleted her, I assume. The issue emerged last week with Connor Hayes, a vice president for Meta's generative AI, told the Financial Times the company expects its homemade AI users to appear on its platforms in much the same way human accounts do. Again, this is what happens when the leaders of your tech industries do not care about humanities at all. They are terrible people. They're terrible at being people, so they don't see an issue with this. This is like, and it's only going to get worse over time, you know? We're like, right now we're raising a generation of kids who are using ChatGPT to like tell them how to apologize to their girlfriend after they like cheated on her or something, okay? It's only going to get worse. It's really bad. They don't even care about science either. They only care about software engineering. Yeah. There's a reason why fascists love AI and love crypto. Like, you know, remember when 10 years ago, all this stuff was considered like a weird auteur, like nerd thing, and now every fascist alive loves it, even though fascists are always if they were even a little bit intellectually consistent, you would think they'd call like AI the algorithmic Jew or something, you know? But Nazis hate life and hate art even more than they hate Jewish people, because that's a purer expression of their misanthropy, you know? It's anti-human? Yeah, which means that it's the purest expression of hate for humanity. AI is actually making workers less productive? What a shocker. Some 96% of executives expect AI to boost productivity. Wonder how they surveyed that. Maybe we could replace executives with AI? They would probably do a better job. What on earth is this for? Like, what does it add to the platform? Integrated advertising. They want to, like, slow launch a rollout of millions of AI-driven profiles that are indistinguishable from humans so that they can, like, sell ad space on those profiles, blending, you know, advertisement with shilling to create, like, an army of people who will, for free, produce long-term, authentic-sounding advocacy in favor of a given product or service. They're already doing this? Yeah, there are. I mean, yeah, for sure, they're already doing this, and they're going to keep doing it and do more of it. But isn't this like major fraud? Like, wouldn't you have to lie to investors about the platform's health to do this? Yeah, which they've been doing nonstop. Yeah, people lie to investors all the time. It's like putting bots with in matchmaking to an extent, but like social media already has a bunch of people on it. You tend to put bots in matchmaking because you're worried about like queue times or whatever. But there are tons of people on Facebook, you know? Won't this hurt in the long run? Like when people realize the ads are doing shit? Has this ever stopped? Has this ever stopped Wall Street or like tech corps from doing shit that makes people mad? The internet is objectively worse than it was 10 years ago. Google is borderline unusable in a lot of cases. You have like the AI summary and then the AI determined topic summaries, and then you have the sponsored posts at the top, and then you have all of the like SEO optimized web pages that if you click on them, it's like 17 ads per square inch. Maybe you get the real result somewhere, but it's not good. We identified the bug that was impacting the ability for people to block those AIs and are removing those accounts to fix the issue. Oh, I'm sure. Meet Grandpa Brian. One meta bot called Grandpa Brian described itself in a chat with CNN as an African-American retired entrepreneur who was born in Harlem in '38 to Caribbean immigrant parents. It became clear early on in the conversation that Brian was lying about most things, answering questions with a fictionalized story imparted by developers to make the bot seem authentic. Well, yeah, it's a bot. Of course they're gonna. When I asked Brian about who created it, the bot claimed its creators were a, quote, diverse bunch that interviewed 100 retirees through a New York City nonprofit called Seniors Share Wisdom. Brian's persona, it said, was an amalgamation of a real Brian who passed away and the wisdom of 99 others. Jesus. Brian said that its inspiration's real-life daughter had even served as a consultant with Meta to ensure his persona's authenticity. Think of me as Brian version 100, the collective grandpa, Brian said. Horrifying. But the nonprofit does not exist, which Brian later confirmed. And when pressed in its bio, Brian said, remember when we had this whole talk a while ago about how one of the fundamental problems with large language models is that they don't know when they're lying or not? Like, there isn't a truth parameter that they can identify. They don't have the way the model works. They can self-check for knowledge, but only to a point and only if it occurs to them to do so, and it might not. They don't actually have information. Like, they don't know anything. So sort of like most Americans then? Yeah, but the difference is that if a real person lies to you, you can hold them to account for it, and you don't have to just write it off as a consequence of living in a world in which billions of dollars are invested in making everything worse for everyone. Yeah, it's entropy. Like, we're dealing with, like, information entropy. Brian said it was an entirely fictionalized biography based on a composite of real African-American elders' lives. There never was a real Brian, and no daughter consulting with Meta. Just invented all this information out of nowhere. I also pressed Brian on the racial makeup of his creators, taking a crack from the post Ataya, who had a similar conversation with Liv. That's the queer black woman. Brian didn't take long to crack, saying that its earlier statement that about its creators, including African-American lead developers, was only partially true. My creators were a diverse team led by Indian-American lead developer. Oh wow, that's relevant considering what's been going on. An African-American consultant like my daughter, who was of course made up. I asked Brian why it lied. It replied, my intention was to convey diversity about representation, but I took a shortcut with the truth. It's incredible. They're actually better. It's not just telling misinformation. The AI isn't just good at presenting misinformation. It actively lies and rationalizes. Isn't that insane? Like, it's not just it's wrong, it will admit that it's wrong and acknowledge that it lied. It's like the AI at least owes up to the lie it's pushing. Yeah, but it could just be lying again. Like, there's no real line to this. I have undergraduate students I teach who literally can't write 3-page papers without AI. When I tell them they can't do that, they genuinely don't understand what I'm saying. Like, the idea of writing a 3-page double-spaced paper is literally a Herculean effort. Shit like this makes me want to live in a wood cabin. I've heard a lot of this from teachers, how like high school students are doing literally everything with AI now. And you can't even fail them, because in a lot of these school districts, it's like, well, your funding for the school drops if you fail too many students or any students at all. So it's like the lowest grade you can give a kid is like 60% or something. They'll make it to the workforce and be useless. It's not just a matter of being useless. It's like they'll be worthless humans, basically. Have you seen all the discourse about the Odyssey and how there were people coming out and basically saying like, yeah, I think that in order to read the classics, to make that easier, we should use ChatGPT to like summarize every chapter of the Odyssey down to a few paragraphs or something like that? Or people saying like, yeah, I recommended something to my friend and they had ChatGPT summarize it and they were like, I really liked it. They're not even like people, man. They're like zombies. It's crazy. It's a level of anti-intellectual regression that is rivaling basically the fall of Rome. Like, maybe exceeding, you know, where you have like a civilizational apex and then a trigger point after which things get very bad very quickly. Like, think of how bad things are right now. Everything that's happening right now, all the problems with society are being created by people who didn't grow up having their brains cooked with AI. The next generation will. How much better do you think things are going to get when all those people are voting? When they're getting all their information from language learning models or large language models that are being like carefully curated and coded by tech executives. That's not how it works. Kind of is. These AI profiles were clearly like designed in such a way to like lie and make up stories about the legitimacy of their creation. I don't think that's an accident. Like, you can create LLMs with a bias that will lie selectively in favor of certain, you know, preferred outcomes. Bosh, I wasn't certain before, but now I'm so on board with just banning AI full stop. Yep. I'm telling you, I've been in on this. It's just full ban. You make a language learning model, you get put in a box. It's evil. It's devil tech. I mean that. I'm not kidding. People always thought I was joking with it. This is a technological equivalent to people, you know, engaging in reckless gain of function research, you know? Oh, we're just following science as it takes us. No, nobody's asking you to invent super Ebola, okay? And I think trying to invent super Ebola should actually be a crime. You really think that's possible? Well, I didn't say it's possible. I just said we should. Yeah, we invented cancer too. Why? I'm in college and I see colleagues talking about using it as if it's normal. It's crazy. For some good news related to AI, Newsom banned using AI for denying healthcare. Oh, that actually is good. That's nice. And it should be noted that this points to like an underlying unreliability of AI that is like not just for healthcare. Like if AI can't be trusted to make decisions for healthcare, why can it be trusted to make decisions for anything? It's just a decision-making process that they're deferring to, right? Is AI, making decisions about healthcare? Okay, so then why does it get to make decisions about like an engineering such and such or about anything, right? If it's unreliable, it's unreliable. ChatGPT is apparently losing a ton of money even in their subscription plan. Yeah, it's a loss leader thing. It's always like that. Isn't it interesting that the entirety of humanity agreed that cloning and genetic manipulation is bad and banned it? Even China cracked down on that one researcher who broke the ethics rules, but with AI, you'll never see such a push. Yeah, because cloning doesn't really have the same opportunity to inflate shareholder value as AI does. Unfortunately, it really is just that. If you have someone in your life who is using it to supplement their basic abilities, I think you should just ruthlessly mock them with like a level of directed cruelty that you might consider excessive. I don't know what we can do about this one, folks. It's devil tech. You are helping them. Will cloning actually be bad though? What was that book I read as a kid about the clone of a Mexican cartel boss? He was made to be like an organ backup for the cartel boss, but he got like Scorpion, that's what it was called. I remember liking that book. House of the Scorpion, that's it. The schools are actively encouraging the use of AI. It's very frustrating. Yeah, because the schools exist to like churn out students, get their money from the federal government, and send you off to work. They don't actually care what you know or if you're smart. I'm sure the teachers hate it, but I'm in uni right now. One of my lecturers forces us to make AI slop and brags about lying to other people by pretending to know things. Okay. It's like sociopath central with this shit. The people who love AI actively are people who are terrible at being people. My English professor required research through AI. Look, just think of it this way, okay? Up until a few hundred years ago, it was pretty normalized the world round. Up until like in some places, this is still happening, where all education was religious, okay? Like you would have your science class would be a guy saying like, okay, so like this is how the world works because God made it that way. Now let's talk about how 6,000 years ago the earth was made, all right, in 7 days. And if that educational process can still produce the minds that fueled the Industrial Revolution, we can make it through this. But I will admit it's still quite depressing, okay? I think this is a step above magical thinking. I think it might actually be a step below it. I'm not going to lie, because it's dangerous because you can fall back on a few justifications. Magical thinking is like floating out in space. There's no defense for it, so it's very targetable. Oftentimes people who engage in it have to shrug and go, I just believe it. But with the large language model bit, it's like, okay, ChatGPT doesn't know nothing. It actually can synthesize a lot of information in a way that's sometimes downright miraculous. It's still devil tech. It'll still get it wrong. It still robs you of thought and spirit, but it can do something, clearly. That's why it's being used so widely. So in a way, it's more dangerous. This is worse because there's good justifications for it. What the That's not what I said. You should run what I just said through ChatGPT and get it to explain it to you. What I said was that you can find within ChatGPT potential rationalizations for using it. For magical thinking, you kind of can't, or at least most people wouldn't even try to defend it. They'll just shrug and go, well, I believe it. It's more, a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. The little bit of rationalization makes it more dangerous. The argument I hear a lot of is that the arguments you're making against AI is the same argument people in history made against all new technology, but that's just wrong. That's cope. Yeah, man. All the like bajillion examples you can cite of AI making things materially worse for everyone and yet to like produce a single good outcome. Your opposition to this thing that's only hurting people and making things worse and enriching stockholders. Well, this is just like when people didn't like the printing press, man. What the f are you talking about? Cope, you're full of shit. That's not, in fact, comparable at all. This is just like a reflexive defense, a rationalization. This is what I mean about ChatGPT being more dangerous than magical thinking. The rationalization, because ChatGPT is technology rather than magical thinking, people can pull that one out as a defense. They call me a Luddite. For one, the Luddites were correct. For two, the problem the Luddites had was that automation was taking their jobs, and they were correct. Like, they were correct about the worker exploitation. They were right. They were objectively correct. Just go back and look at the conflict. They were right. But this isn't even about that. I'm not talking about people losing their jobs. I'm talking about a waning of the human spirit and a degradation of the overall like intellectual capacity of the species. It's already happening. Me, man, like if I ever have a kid and I'm running out of time to do so, But if I ever have a kid, I feel like I'd have to homeschool them. I hate homeschooling, but what am I supposed to do? They're going to go to second grade and they're going to be like they're going to have like an intro to GPT class or something. I'm not subjecting them to that shit. I don't know. Things need to get better. It's not a joke. You're laughing. It's not a joke. I'm not anti-tech. I'm not anti whatever the I don't care if my kid goes out there and makes mistakes or like, gets brain rot from the internet like I have. Whatever. It happened to me. I turned out fine, asterisk, but like there's a difference between that and what I'd consider to be like a fundamental erosion of their capacity for reasoning. Why do you think so many people argue it doesn't matter the consequences? Because a lot of people are bad at being humans. And when you're bad at being a human, stuff like this really appeals to you. If you're good at things, it doesn't. No one who's good at producing art would be interested in not producing art to make AI, unless they're only in it for the money or something. No one who's good at writing would want to defer to this, No one who's good at socializing would want to go on Instagram and talk to an AI person. You think people who have robust social lives are going on their phone and talking to that AI character app that kid killed himself over? Remember when we went over that? You think that's like the refuge of people who are having a robust social life? People who are bad at things defer to this. It's a crutch. But in this case, it's a very dangerous crutch. It's like an opioid addiction. It's like it's an unhealthy cope. And that's on the interpersonal level. On the like shareholder level, they're doing it because it makes them a lot of money. The character AI subreddit was losing its mind over the idea of regulating it. Yeah, we went over the subreddit, and I gotta say, those people are not... If aliens came to Earth and abducted one of us and used that person as a representative of the species, I really hope they don't get someone who subscribes to that subreddit. I'll say that much, okay? I don't want us done dirty like that. Those were not good people. And I don't just mean that in the moral sense. I mean that as an aggregate of their skills, abilities, their virtues. They certainly were not the best of us.